let's talk about the investment case. Many people point to areas like there's a lot of PPPs in the pipeline in Nigeria, rapid urbanization, there's a housing deficit, and then of course cement producers have really stepped up their game in Nigeria. We're seeing a lot more local production. But having said all this, what's your thoughts on the opportunity for construction?
The construction sector in Nigeria is, I see that as a great booming industry. We should see significant growth in all sectors, whether that is in the civil engineering, whether that is in the housing sector, where there's a lot of deficit, like you just say. Lot of schemes have to come up. Investors are finding money again with the banks in Nigeria. So I'm certainly foreseeing a huge growth there. With the stability that we now find also on the political field, I'm looking at a good industry.
I was just going to ask, how significant do you think, the stability politically is for the construction sector? Obviously, the government is a big player. There's a lot of civil works going on. What are your thoughts on the impact of the quality of the elections that we've seen, and of course the expectations post the inauguration this weekend?
Well, if you relate that to the construction industry, investments in that sector are always huge, and if you find an unstable political system, huge investments are the first to withdraw. And when it is stable, they are also stepping up to the plate. So I foresee better investments, bigger investments in Nigeria, on which the construction industry can grow significantly.
And already we see the likes of the Chinese civil engineering construction company coming in to do light rail projects and several other projects in Nigeria. But obviously there are some challenges, and we did notice in the numbers that Costain West Africa recently released that turnover is down about 30%, and we're seeing a loss before tax of about 81 million in the first quarter released so far. Are there any major challenges that's affecting your company right now that's reflected in those numbers?
Well, the profit is negative, but that's the profit after depreciation and taxes. Our EBITDA is still positive by about 30 million naira. Challenges with the Chinese industries coming into Africa, not only Nigeria, but into Africa, yes. I believe that we are seeing unjust competition there. We are at a disadvantage as African industries compared to some of the concessions that are granted to Chinese investors, Chinese businesses starting to operate in Africa.
And then let's talk more about the other challenges facing the sector. We did see a banking crisis in Nigeria recently. To some extent, that must have slowed down construction activity.
Yes, it has. A number of schemes that were ongoing came to a standstill, and in recent months you have seen a gradual release of monies again from the bank into the real sector of the economy, and those monies are being invested. We have seen it in our company, where some of the works that we were on came to a standstill, and very recent, one of them has started again, and it was all related to banks slowing down the lending into the real sector.
Like we mentioned earlier, we really have like three major segments: building, heavy construction, industrial construction. One area that I think might be a general challenge will be the issue of permits and contract permits in Nigeria. To what extent do you think that would slow down the potential that everybody talks about in terms of construction?
No, I don't think that is. I don't think the licensing is the big problem. The government has certainly understood that they must be friendly towards businesses here to make things happen in the country.